Hello, I'm the Atheist Gamer. It's been a while since I've gone after this type of video. Of course we need more non-binary bullshit in our lives. Before I begin, however, I need to point out that my old laptop is no longer functional and therefore all of my sources are now down the drain. So I've gotten a new laptop that is far better than the old one. It's about damn time too. Thankfully, Tebawetza is kind enough to keep the link of my new avatar. Now all I have to do is find some good background music in a background loop and increase the quality of my video and I am set. I'm not going too crazy with the editing, but I want to test all the limitations of my new laptop. That being said, let's begin.
My name is Key Williams and I identify as a queer transmasculine person.
5 seconds in! 5 fucking seconds! I can tell most of you are already grinding your teeth at this. And who can blame you? Surely I can't. Whatever happened to being a feminine male or a tomboy? There's no such thing as a transmasculine. For fuck's sakes. At best you're a tomboy, at worst you're a flimsy crossdresser. Yes, you can present yourself as masculine or feminine, but at the end of the day, your gender determines if you're a man or a woman. Guessing that you transition to being masculine, I can only assume that you're a woman that looks like a goddamn pineapple.
And I identify as a gender non-conforming femme.
Gender non-conforming femme? That's like saying you're an atheist born-again Christian.
I identify as transgender non-binary or transgender non-conforming.
It's like you don't even know what you are, so you just don't give a fuck.
I identify as genderqueer, genderfluid, more specifically, and my pronouns are they, them.
You're a dude! Even children can see that you're a man! I should mention that this channel is called Lifehacker, but they are now including some non-binary bullshit. Oh, and people have unsubscribed from this channel, and it's not hard to see why.
I don't want to identify as a man or a woman. There's so many stigmas that come along with either being a woman or being a man and societal expectations, and I just want to be me.
Most people don't give a damn what you wear or what you do, even if it's against traditional norms. Sure, there might be some form of expectation of the two genders, but those expectations are mostly natural and part of the norm. That doesn't mean every man out in the streets are expected to be a super macho and carrying weights all over town. Look at me, for example. I'm not that strong. I could break like a twig, but I plan to work out soon. But it's not because I'm a man, but it's because I want to be healthy.
It's a way for me to express myself knowing that there are no boundaries. Knowing that I didn't identify as a woman, and now knowing that I didn't also have to therefore identify as a man and just kind of float wherever I wanted on the spectrum was a lot of freedom for me.
You can still express yourself. Crossdressers, drag queens, and other groups of people that wear strange outfits express themselves just fine. But the thing is that those group of people don't treat themselves as a minority because it's something they like to do. They understand at the end of the day, you can put all the women clothing you like, but if you have a penis, you're still a man. But that's not a bad thing. What's a bad thing, on the other hand, is treating something that's considered to be part of a culture, if not some form of hobby, and turning it into some sort of political statement to challenge the gender norms of society, and expecting to bend over backwards for your sake, and if people don't, you get pissy and demand things go your way!
That feminine side of me that I'm probably not presenting at all hours of the day or nearly as much as the male side of me is just as important. It comes and goes, and that's why I kind of identify really as gender fluid, because I feel like sometimes I'm here, sometimes I'm there, sometimes I'm somewhere in between.
You know, at best this is just cross-dressing. That's what you are, a cross-dresser. Again, not saying it's a bad thing, but when you claim that your feminine side comes and goes like you're some sort of possessed woman, it feels like, you know, a mental illness.
So for a lot of people, there's not necessarily a huge aha moment of, oh, suddenly I realized that I'm non-conforming, this is it. It's more of, I finally figured out that there was a third option.
There is no third option. You're either male or female.
My friend was telling me about this show, Steven Universe. She was like, you have to watch this show. There's all these characters who are just like us, you know, gender non-conforming femmes. And when she said that word, she was so sure, and I never heard it before, and it just clicked.
Clearly, she doesn't understand how crystal gems operate. They are technically genderless, but they present themselves as mostly feminine, thus technically making them female. It's not all that groundbreaking. The Asari from Mass Effect worked in a similar fashion. These aliens are technically genderless, or genderfluid, but they are feminine and even use female pronouns. That's why they can mate with both male and female and be either a mother or a father. But our species are not like them. We only reproduce when a man sticks his dick inside a woman's vagina, or if a woman decides to go to the sperm bank and insert sperm inside her. Either way, 2 women or 2 men can never reproduce. Even trans women and men understand that. We're not aliens. We are not rock people. We're fucking humans, and we're the laughingstock of the universe.
My biggest source of information was the internet. It was just Googling anything that came to mind, anything from androgyny, anything from gender fluidity.
My guess that most of your sources are from Tumblr, right?
I wrote a Facebook post and I said, I'm still femme, I'm just not a lady.
You're a woman. End of story. Whoa, 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 whoa. Your gender pronouns are they, them, and K. As in your name. Is K even a real name? Are you really that much of a jerk that now you must turn something that's used in third person into a gender-neutral pronoun? What are you supposed to be, some sort of space sponge? Oh, who lives in a pineapple under the sea? This person, apparently!
Kind of just went on Facebook and was like, hey, here's what's happening, and going forward, I won't respond to certain things, and I will remind you when you misgender me. My mom is super active on Facebook, and so she always responds in a really, loving way.
I wonder if I can find this person's Facebook and post this video here. I'm really hoping that I get Kay's attention, because there's just no way I can sit there and just allow this person to go on with her life and not get criticized. Yeah, I called Kay a her. There's no way in the world I am going to use a plural pronoun that is used in second person to be used for a singular person who has no idea how gender works. I am being critical of their beliefs. And this isn't just some form of hate speech when you're being critical about an ideology.
One of my really good friends from college, she just really didn't understand it. And instead of trying to understand, she just kind of diminishing the fact that I was changing my identity. And I just explained to her, hey, when I tell you something about who I am, it's not up for debate.
Of course not! Because if you did try to debate, you would lose. If it's not up for debate, then clearly you shouldn't be friends with normal people. And yes, I'm implying that you're abnormal.
You're probably never going to fundamentally alter their mindset. The happy medium, if you will, is where you can live your life as a queer person, and then they can live their life. And you just have to say it and to keep saying it until they can no longer refute it as your truth.
In other words, you just have to annoy people into submission. Well, repeat it as many times as you want, but people like me will still say the exact same thing over and over again.
Most people will nod their head, but with an empty glare.
I actually had a conversation at work with a coworker who is from Amsterdam, and they don't really have a word for they or them pronouns. He said, I just don't really feel comfortable calling one person they. They is a group of people. And I said, it's not really about how you feel comfortable. It's about what I feel comfortable with.
You're literally saying, fuck this guy's feelings. It's all about you. Here's a legit question. Why should we respect your pronouns if you won't respect other cultures that is foreign to the idea of using gender-neutral terms for people like you? It's people like you who keep saying it's not always about you, but demand the red carpet to roll out for you because you don't fit into the norm of society.
We consistently use they and them to identify singular individuals of whose gender we just don't know. Whether it's, oh, the doctor called today. Oh yeah, what'd they say? Like, immediately we know the doctor is one person, but we don't know if it's a man or a woman or something in between.
But sometimes we don't know if it's just one person. Sometimes it could be 2 or 3. The only time they is used in a singular sense if we're certain it's just one person, but their gender identity is near impossible to figure out.
Or not at all, so we just employ the use of they. I think coming out with your sexuality is great practice for coming out with your gender identity.
They can understand a lesbian because it's like, oh, they have sex with women and they're a woman. But when you say you're genderqueer, people don't understand that because then they're thinking about sexuality and that's, well, are you a lesbian then? And it's not really about that.
Yes, it is. If a man like myself is attracted to women, then I'm straight. But if I'm dating a woman who does not identify as a woman, does that mean I am no longer straight? Not that I want to date a woman who does not identify as a woman. I'm just sexually attracted to women. If gender can be easily changed in a second, then so can sexuality.
It forces your family to really understand something that they do not see.
I chose to change my name just because my given name is very much feminine, so it did not fit inside of what I had constructed as my identity. I have a relationship with my given name. It is representative of who I am.
You changed your name to be a gender-neutral pronoun. Keep in mind, no one else besides Kay is like this.
It's a Muslim name, and it's one of the things that my father gave me that we have a really close bond about.
Left-wing ideologies and having a Muslim name. Imagine my shock.
There's still family members who don't call me by my name, and so learning how to navigate that on a day-to-day or a life basis, you kind of have to learn what to argue about, what to give and what to take from. I think I would have given myself the advice that patience is really important and being able to be soft and gentle with yourself is really important because you're the one that's going to have to be with yourself.
Kay, I hope in the near future you tell yourself that what you're doing is a phase. I really don't have a counter argument here, but what else is to say about this?
I think that you can be as clear as possible, as kind as possible, but also don't be afraid to stand your ground when they push back, because your family will always push back and say, this is who I remember you being.
Well, in that case, I do hope you have a proper response to my criticism, and not just hide behind some media outlets saying that people are being mean to you on the internet. Ideas like this are meant to be challenged. To say otherwise shows that you don't have a counter-argument to begin with, and you just rely on emotions to negate any form of constructive criticism. Keep in mind that appealing to emotion is a fallacy.
I would just say that know that no matter what happens, that you're valid. That all the scary emotions that you're feeling are totally valid.
So if my feelings tell me I should just rape some kid, is it valid? I'm asking you this question.
The thing that really helped me mature a lot was also voluntarily doing therapy, which I had been resistant to for the longest time.
It's important to also just reach out and not be afraid to talk to people because in my experience, the trans community has been extremely welcoming.
I have trans people, mostly male to female, tell me that people who are either non-binary, creating new gender identities, or who are transitioning from male to female or vice versa, but they're either only going halfway, or just stating that you're a woman without transitioning to, or, change their physical appearance, is a mockery to the LGBT community. People have struggled to find out who they are, and you're just prancing along and pretending to be like them.
People have been through your experience, right? And so they're also willing to help you move through yours.
People come to how they identify in their own way at their own time, and none of it is concrete. So never feel like it's too late to look for sources, because they're out there. We're out there. We're waiting. We want to answer your questions. We want to like hold our arms out and like welcome you home.
Which is why this video disabled its comments. It's almost as if these people know that what they're about to say will crumble their narrative, so they do everything in their power for others to not see the criticism.
There's enough people being fake every day. If you can take off your mask and still look at yourself in the mirror every day, fuck what everyone else says. That is a power.
The only person who is wearing a mask is you. All you're doing is pretending to be something that you're not. You need to grow up and accept reality. The world is not your red carpet. I do hope I can share this video with these people to see if they're willing to quote-unquote push back. I want to see their response if they're willing to take up the challenge. I am the Atheist Gamer, and keep gaming on.